What's up, ladies and gents? Sinistrino1, your host, back with more Assassin's Creed Origins Discovery Tour. Hopefully you all have been enjoying so far. One of the most amazing things I love about this game is just the foliage that you see around Egypt back in this day. Really is such a contrast to the area of the desert and whatnot, and it just looks absolutely beautiful. So we're going to go ahead and jump in here as a different character this time. I think we're going to jump in as... let's see. Let's be a Roman soldier. I love the way that he puts his hand out, like he's brushing. It looks so great. Kind of really reminds me, of course, of the Gladiator. So with this new episode, we're going to be doing something new. This one is going to be covering Bringer of Life, the River Nile. Learn about the River Nile and its importance to the development of ancient Egyptian civilization. Hopefully you guys enjoy. Don't forget to follow me on Facebook.com/Sinistrino1 to be able to know when I go live every single day. I have a schedule up there, so come check it out, and hopefully you will enjoy it. And of course, it's go time.
Welcome to Bringer of Life, the River Nile. The ancient Egyptians called the dark fertile soil of the Nile the Black Lands, and the surrounding desert was referred to as the Red Lands. The dramatic difference of productive land opposed to barren desert had a deep influence on cultural ideology, mythology, and religion. The Nile determined much of Egyptian civilization. For example, the seasonal cycle of the Nile was so consistent that ancient Egyptians created their calendar around it. The flood season, or Akhet, was when the departing floodwaters left arable soil for crops. It was followed by the growing and harvesting seasons, known as Peret and Shemu. These regular seasons, along with abundant wildlife and rich soil, meant that Egypt's denizens were able to nourish themselves and ensure their country's strength in trade. The River Nile, flowing from the south to the north, neatly traversed through both Upper and Lower Egypt. All of Egypt's major cities were built along this narrow ribbon of life. Protected by mountain ranges and deserts which acted as natural barriers to enemies, and sustained by the Nile's plants and wildlife, Egyptian civilization enjoyed economic and cultural prosperity for over 4,000 years. Both ancient Egyptians and ancient Greeks referred to the Nile as the river in their respective languages. Stretching a distance of over 6,700 kilometers, the Nile is one of the longest rivers in the world. It flows south to north, spanning 11 countries. The River Nile originates in the region of the Great Subequatorial Lakes, including one of the largest in the world, Lake Victoria near Tanzania. The river flows through African equatorial forests, swamps, volcanic lands, steppes, and deserts, splitting apart for a while and picking up various sediments from each region and carrying them all the way to Egypt. Its main artery, known as the White Nile, rejoins with the Blue Nile in Khartoum. This is where it weaves through rich deposits of silt and nutrients, carrying them along in its wake. The Nile crosses 6 cataracts from the south to the north, creating natural obstacles between the various sections of the river. The cataracts are long zones of about 100 kilometers, where the bubbling and rapidly swirling waters advance tumultuously amid enormous heaps of rocks and benches of hard stone. It is after crossing Nubia and the first cataract that the river officially returns to Egypt in Aswan. There are still 1,000 kilometers before it reaches Cairo and the Delta, bringing life to those living on its shores before it eventually empties into the Mediterranean Sea. Ancient Egyptian irrigation and water use was centered around the Nile. However, they also had access to streams and rivers, as well as several large lakes. The Delta, situated at the north end of the Nile, also known as Lower Egypt, is a large irrigated area where the river splits into several tributaries. The delta had several major brackish coastal lakes, bodies of water separated from the sea by thin strips of land. A mix of deep to shallow waters, salt swamps, and sand plains, these lakes were refuge to a wealth of species, as well as water and land plants. The occasional bandit could also be found sheltering within the denser reeds, waiting for the unwary traveler.
There you go, ladies and gents. Tour completed. Bringer of life, the River Nile. Again, hopefully you've been enjoying these history lessons. I know I have. As someone who absolutely loves history and where and what we all came from, it is very important for me to continue that type of knowledge. No matter how old you get, knowledge is power. And always remember that we can learn from our past, we can learn from the mistakes that we've made in it, and we can be better people for it. So thank you again so much for watching. Don't forget as well to follow me on Facebook.com/Industry101, where I live stream every single day. And I will see you next time. Peace out.